are down today reveals you are not made for lowly heights. So raise the bar and be better, explore new frontiers. I am cheering, waiting on the other side. Keep advancing, God has given all you need. There are people following the path you lead. Yeah, 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 oh yeah, yeah. Every day is just a gift to become a better you. Now is where your pages begin. No stopping now, no stopping. Keep moving, no stopping. Keep moving, no stopping. Keep moving, no stopping now. Growth is a guarantee that tomorrow's great. Hope you hear me. Don't you drown in the glory of yesterdays. Only if you can strive to be better, then you have a chance to become the best of you. Yeah, I am cheering, waiting on the other side. Keep advancing, God has given all you need. There are people following the path you lead. Yeah.
Hello, leadership community. How are you doing? How's your day going? My name is Bisi Akande, and I want to just add value to you. I know by now you know that statement, and many people have come to know me with it, but that's the truth. That's what I want to do. I just want to add value to everyone that I find around me. There's no better day to be alive than today. It's a great day. I'm so glad that we're here, and I'm so glad that we're together having a leadership conversation. Last week we began by saying we're looking at leaders lead, because that's true. That's what leaders do. Leaders lead. And when anyone is in leadership position and they are not leading, then of course that means they are not leaders, because what leaders are meant to do is to lead. And that's what we want to look at. And I know a lot of time when we talk about leadership, you want to hear people say things like that. They're pointing their fingers at someone else. But we're going to look at someone else, but we're not looking at someone else so that we can just criticize them or probably tell them what to do. We're looking at someone else so that we can learn from them. And of course, we want to look at ourselves too. How do we project ourselves? How do we do the things? How do we move on? How do we push this leadership game? How do we push it further? How do we make it better? How do we lead in a way that makes a difference in the world that we're in today? How do we lead so that we can make a better place? How do we lead so that we can change our world? Now, looking at what's going on around, a thought came to my mind that I needed to be in the company of certain people today as we have this leadership conversation. I learned something from my mentor, John Maxwell. If you don't want to get old, then you better stay with the younger generation. And today I'm going to be with two young ladies who are doing wonderful things in their world, in their space. I would be having two of them. I just want to do an introduction before I bring them up, because they're going to be sharing with us on their leadership journey and what they have learned in leadership. And then we'll have a conversation. If you have questions, please feel free to put your question in the chat room. We're going to look at it, and then we can consider certain things. There's a lot to learn when it comes to leadership. First of all, both of them are young ladies who have gotten themselves certified with the John Maxwell team. I just love what they are doing. I follow them and I see the beauty of what they are doing. One I've known for about a year and a half or more, and the other I've known for just about 3 or 4 months. And I see the great thing that this young woman is doing, and I'm so impressed. I'm sure you're going to learn from them. First, we're going to be having Bumi Akande, who is an engineer, has a passion for people and for knowledge. She has a bachelor's in automatic control systems engineering. You know, there are programs that we never heard about in our days, but you hear a lot of new programs these days. She got the Leap Africa Honors Award for her contribution to development of youths in Africa in 2018. And she has also received award, her company has received an award for the top emerging 100 SME businesses in Nigeria. In 2019, her company, EcoPro, was recognized as one of the 14 brands we love in Nigeria. She is an African Change Makers Fellow, a John Marshall Certified Personal and Leadership Coach, a Mandela Washington Fellow, and she is the current Special Duties Secretary for the Mandela Washington Fellowship Alumni Association, Nigeria. She's a very, very passionate person, and you will hear her. The other person that's going to be coming up is Omotola Akishola, who is also a John Maxwell certified coach, speaker, trainer, and teacher, and she's sold out to helping youths, individuals, and organizations to be a force for good and maximize their potential. She's an assistant professor at the Minnesota State University, Mankato, in the social work department. She founded Jumpstart Your Dream Academy, a non-profit organization in Nigeria that works with youth to develop young people into agents of positive change. Through the funding magnet, she has worked and consulted for more than 400 non-profit organizations across 15 countries. Her consulting work includes creating and designing programs, evaluating programs, structuring non-profits to run effective budgeting, grant proposal, writing and reviews, and coming up with fundraising strategies. You bet we have a great team in the house today. And so please allow me to bring up Bumi Akande, who is going to be taking our first session. Please welcome Bumi Akande to the house.
Hello, good.
Bumi, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, sir. How are you, sir?
Great. I'm fantastic, and you too. So I'll let you just do your thing for the couple of moments. Just talk to the house. The leadership community welcomes you today. We're willing to learn. We're ready to take in as much as you can give us. So please bring it on.
All right. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you. I truly appreciate it. It's such an honor to be here. I don't know how, especially in a time like this, like I was saying to you earlier, it's also even a session where I am also here to learn, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to be here. So, going straight to, the conversation of today, basically on, a few leadership lessons, which we're talking about within this time of crisis and just generally this year. So I think that I would just be sharing some of the lessons I've learned from literally since the beginning of 2020 and up to now. So obviously we all agree that 2020 has been an extremely interesting year. It has been a year that has tested our physical state, our mental states, our emotional states, our spiritual states as well. Like there's just been a lot of roller coaster. The better part of the year, we started 2020 with COVID, and we were still dealing with COVID-19 and trying to figure out what to do, how businesses should go. Even us as a person, as leaders in our various organizations and businesses, we were still trying to figure out how we should maneuver. And of course, the economy opened a bit towards the middle of the year. And then we started getting, bit by bit. Obviously, a lot of us also had to, even in businesses, had to let a few people go because businesses were not moving as well. A lot of lessons had been learned. And then in the last 2 to 3 weeks, again, NSAS started. And in the space of NSAS, it started off as a very, very peaceful protest, which every single one of us welcomed. Everyone was, very passionate about it because we saw that this was making sense. And then, of course, in the last few days, 3 to, about 5 days now, it just went, it went a different way completely from what we had all hoped for and what we were all looking towards. And in that, it has left us with the aftermath of all that. And for the next few months, we are going to be dealing with that aftermath. And it takes leadership, it takes strategy, it takes planning, it takes the right people to actually lead us through this, because we've been having different conversations of, okay, so where do we go from here? And the truth is, where do we go can only be answered by, when we have leaders that would also take us there. So I think that for me, like I said, in all of this, 2020, the year 2020 itself, for me, it's just it tested our leadership ability, whether in those in government, whether those of us in businesses, whether small business owners, whether religious leaders as well. It's just tested everyone. And so I'll break it down in, the few lessons that I have learned. And I believe that a lot of us might also pick from that. And I'm happy to, continue the conversation as we go. So I think the first thing that I have learned from this whole experience this year is basically that leadership requires understanding of ourselves, first of all, understanding of the people, understanding of the situation, and in general, the reality. Right now, I think that, of course, everybody can point hands to, oh, someone has not done this person has not done this, that person has not done this. However, in all our little spaces of, our spaces of influence, we're actually influencing somebody. We are changing somebody's perspective. And, the little that we can do within our little space, we're expected to do that. And so understanding the people that we all work with, whether we are, connecting with them directly, it requires a lot of understanding. Yes, I can see someone say it does require a lot of understanding. It's not something that we can jump into. And, and as a leader, the people we work with, we have to try to even understand them. And that's where we can influence people. Obviously, we know what John Maxwell has said, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And honestly, if, those of us that are even leading, a lot of even those people that went into the violent places could have even called them back and said, you guys should, calm down, let's be able to talk. So because we don't have leaders that are influencing a lot of, the younger people or the those that were out there, causing a lot of destruction. We didn't have that type of leadership that could influence, that had that level of influence on them to have pulled everybody back to behave or do the right thing. So I think that was one of the lessons for me that, that I've definitely taken away from this. It requires understanding of the people and the situation. And, it's not when there's crisis, you're not trying to start figuring it out. No, when you understand them, you already prepare a solution for them before that time. And another thing I learned too, secondly, is that leadership is not by position. I think that, it's definitely a process. It's not because you are the head of the business, or you are, people have come to reject so many leaders. If you come and tell me, oh, you are my leader, and I'm like, oh, but I don't want you. And I think that that's a lot of what we have seen in recent times, when even people have come, whether it's political, whether even religious, sometimes they'll be like, no, I don't want this person to lead me. Not because the person might not just have, good, they might have good methods, but just because you don't accept them, then, and the leader himself is just saying, yes, I'm in the position of leadership, so I'm their leader. But nobody's, you have to show that you can lead them, you can influence them, and then people would understand. To lead people, you have to show them your credentials. You have to show them that, look, you have done this, you have done that. You've gone through your own submissive level as well. Then you can take responsibility for people. So leadership is not just, somebody's placing it to you, and then it's a journey. It's definitely a journey, and that a lot of us has to go. So even those of us in the leadership position, those in the leadership position have to know that they are going through a journey. It's not you have to, it's like when we go to school, and you have to go through grad school, go to university, go through different things to actually get that degree. So why do you just assume that because they put you in that leadership position, you have arrived? That's, you can't just assume that. And that's the second thing for me I've learned. And the third thing I've also learned is that leadership is processing information. I know in the last 2, 3, 4 days, there's been so much information that's just going out there. This one is saying this, that one is saying this, and then, there's a lot of sharing, posting, and all of that. And, as a leader, at some point, you have to sit down and think, okay, this thing I'm passing on, is this correct? So learning to manage and process information before passing it out is very, very important. As a leader, especially in time of crisis, you can't afford to talk anyhow. No, you can't afford to behave anyhow based on the information that you're just seeing running helter-skelter. That level of processing, and then calling the people that you can influence, like you said, then calling them, say, look at this information, let's decipher it before we. So a lot of that information is very key. Managing and processing, having that stability to be able to manage and process information is another lesson for me that I've learned in all of this. And the fourth thing is preparedness. You have to be prepared. I think that preparation is, like I say, preparation meets opportunity. So being a leader, you must always be prepared. It's not when the crisis comes that you now be saying, so we'll figure it out. And I think that a lot of it has, played out in the situation that has happened in the last couple of days, and there's been a lot of chaos because the leaders that we currently have, a lot of them don't even know what to do till now, because everybody's sometimes, of course, the situations may differ. You may not necessarily know what to do. However, I think it's key that we as leaders ourselves, we prepare ourselves. So I was speaking, I think just after the incident happened, I was speaking to one of my friends that has an NGO, which is called Ready to Lead Africa. So I called him and I said, why don't you use your platform? I'm not going to set it up, but why don't you use your platform that you already have to prepare people that want to go into government, to, help them with capacity building. There's so many people that don't know their constitution, so many people that don't know, their voting rights, so many people that don't know their, so a lot of, in fact, I feel even I myself, if not because I know a few things here and there, so many things that we don't know. So I think that, preparing people for the next is not when 2023 is coming, then we now start saying, we are in December 2022. The election is in February 2023. Let's start preparing. It's already too late. We're already meeting, you're already setting yourself up for failure. So why don't we start preparing people for now? Use your platform to begin to prepare people so that when that time comes, they are ready. Those that you can say, this one has the knowledge of this, they go there. This one has the knowledge of that, they go there. And I think generally in leadership, preparedness is just very important. You never know when you'll be called upon to do anything, or, and then even with the whole NSAS thing, a lot of the youth, a lot of people have said, why haven't, been able to select a leader and someone to come out? So for me, I've always had the opinion that, look, I feel that even some of them are not even ready, because if you're ready, we should have been able to pull out somebody to represent the youth at any level, whether it's state level or federal level. You should be ready. Leadership is very important. There's no way you can want to make change or want to make a difference and not have leadership. So you need to always be prepared. So that's for me, that was the other thing that I was able to pick out from that. And then the other final lesson that for me that resonated with me in all of this is that a leader must also recognize that victory will not come easily. It's not going to come quick. It's not going to come easy. The leader must have a vision so that when they call you, you have a vision. You might not figure it all out, and also knowing that it's not going to come easy. You are going to keep improving. When you get there, there might be something that will change. And along the way, you are ready to change. You have to ensure that you are flexible. If you're a leader, you cannot say, this is how it's done, so I'm just doing it that way. No. You learn how it was done, and then now look at how you can also now improve it by also working with teams of the people that you have met on ground And because in the last couple of days, I've heard so many things. A lot of young people have said, let's go and form another party. Let's go and do this. Let's go and do that. So like I said, I've always just been of a different opinion. So I have said to a couple of people, I said, why don't we first if you are interested, why don't you first understand how they are doing it? What is being done before you say, oh, you want to just, yes, you have different views and all of that. But don't think that by forming a different party or forming one party will make the victory quick. No, it's not possible. And it's not going to be easy. So why don't you learn how these people are doing this? And then you improve on that. Start, by the time, because it's like I said to someone, it's like fighting a battle, and all of us are in different battlefields. You say, oh, you are trying to make a change for the whole country, or you're trying to, but your own battle, you pick battle A ground, the other people pick battle B ground, and then you people are fighting. You're supposed to be fighting each other there, but it won't make sense. Nobody will communicate. Things will just be as it is and status quo. So you have to understand that, victory is not easy and it's not going to come quick. Have a vision, have a strategy, have a structure, for the way forward. Of course, there'll be failures, there'll be times there'll be challenging times, there'll be times that we need to, which is a lot of the things that I have seen with what has happened even with COVID, because a lot of time, even with COVID, in terms of trying to figure out what we were doing, especially in the early months, nobody knew. There were some failures of, when they brought in test kits and they say no, it's not, those were some recorded failures as well. But now people are beginning to understand how to coexist with the virus at the moment. Same with NSAS. We have to have a good structure on going forward. We can't just go. We have to learn from, and then we start over. Not giving up on solving an issue or a problem. Not giving up on solving an issue and a problem, and then just because you are looking at the pain right now, then you don't want to do it. Of course, everybody's looking at Nigeria right now. In the last couple of days, in 2 days, I've been speaking to so many people. I was like, oh, I'm just going. I think I'm leaving Nigeria, and there's no hope. There's nothing anymore. There's been a lot of that conversation. However, I've always just said, look, this is the pain part. But let's sit down. Let's write. The victory is not a one day. It's not a one-day event. It's not a one-day victory. So we need to start, re-strategize, restructure, and then draw visions and plan, and then we move. But so in closing, one of the things in the space of also all of this, I was speaking to my dad a few days ago, and then we were talking about just leadership and just talking about. So we were just sharing. And he broke down leadership for me in a different explanation. And he says something. He said leadership is in 3 tiers. There's submission, there's responsibility, and authority. So we all have to go through that phase. So he explained it how Jesus Christ, when Jesus Christ was born, he was under his parents, he was submissive to his parents until he got to a certain level where he was not given responsibility, he was in charge of this, he was in charge of that. And of course, after he died on the cross, he's now with the Father and he has authority. So leadership itself it works in that space. And so like I said from the beginning, it's a process. And so those are some of the lessons that I have, been able to, of course, it's still an ongoing process learning. And, I was sharing that earlier. I'm still open to so many things. So many things may come out and jump out, but in the last, 3 to few days, and, I just try to summarize what my own learning process has been. And these are some of the things that I've been able to pick. So thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I hope I didn't go over the time. I think you're on mute.
That's serious. Yeah, that's very serious wisdom from the elder. Submission, responsibility, and authority. I mean, I like that. But you see, I see quite a number of things that you've shared here, and they are very fantastic. I'm going to bring up Dr. Motala now, and then we'll go back and then share, because I'm going to have to challenge some of the questions. There's a reason why we have to bring, I thought that we should come like this and bring some, and I'm so impressed. We have watching us online, your mom is here, my aunt, and Coach Bisi is here also. We have certain people from here and there, so you're on the spot. So let me quickly bring on Dr. Omotala, and then we'll now begin to interrogate some of the things that she has said. Dr. Omotala, are you ready? Let's have Dr. Omotala. Please welcome Dr. Omotala Akishola. Omotala, how are you? Nice to see you once again.
I'm doing great, and you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much.
Great.
Yeah, I'm hearing you clearly. So I'm going to step up and just have you talk about your 6 C's of leadership that you shared with me. Go ahead, please.
Yes, awesome. Welcome, everyone. Before I get started, I always like to ask people 2 questions. So my first question is, wherever you're watching us from, in the comments, please tell me, what does leadership mean to you? If you were to define leadership, what does leadership mean to you? So while I wait for you to respond to that, I have another question for you. If you were to pick one person, dead or alive, who exhibits the leadership trait you want to have, who would that person be and why? So I'm going to read out your statement later on, but I want to start with that. What does leadership means to you? If you were to pick one person, dead or alive, who would that person be that exhibits the leadership character or trait that you want to emulate in your life? My name is Omotola Ased, and I'm going to speak on the 6 C's of leadership, the trait I believe a leader should have. But before I go into that, I want to emphasize what the first speaker, Wumi, said about leadership is not a position. There's a particular quote that I've lived with for the past 8 years of my life, and I believe that more than ever, it is so necessary. And the quote is, leadership is not the position you hold, it's the difference you make wherever you are, at whatever stage or point you are right now in your life. So you don't have to become a governor yet to start leading. You don't have to be the president yet to start leading. Whatever you are, whether you're leading your family, yourself, your business, your community, that is, you are in a leadership position already. So see it as that, because a lot of us will believe that we have to wait until we have this big stage before we start leading. Actually, it's what you do before you have those big stage that matters. So leadership is not the position you hold, it's the difference you make at whatever point or whatever stage you are in right now, whatever stage, whether it's little or big, that you are holding, that you are responsible for. And so that's it. So before we go into how do you now make a difference as a leader, you need to have at least 6 traits. There are more traits, but I'm going to focus on 6 traits just for today alone. And so to get started, before you can do those things that you want to do as a leader, before you can have all of these big influence that you want, you need 6 things. And the first one is courage. You need courage more than ever. In this atmosphere that we are in, courage is so necessary. Courage is so important. And what is courage? Courage is being willing to face obstacles, face challenging disapproval from other people, and being willing to stick to your guts, no matter what anybody else says or think about you. So far, you believe that's the right course that you should take. An example of a great leader that I personally look up to is Nelson Mandela. Let's look at his life. He spent almost 27 years in prison for something he did not commit. But because of his conviction about what life should be like for people, irrespective of your color, he was able to stand his ground. He could have chosen at any point in his life to say, you know what, I don't agree, I don't believe in this thing again, let me leave this prison. He was willing to die for that cause, and that's what courage is. So as a leader, what is your conviction? What are you willing to die for? What is something that you believe in as a leader, that this is the way things should be? Are you willing to die for that thing? So I want you to reflect on that as we continue to go. And Nelson Mandela is one person that I see that demonstrated courage all through his life, all through his leadership. So ask yourself, how have you been courageous in your life, in the current spot that you occupy, the current position you are in right now? Because it takes a lot of courage to be a leader, especially a leader of substance. Number 2C is commitment. It's not enough for you to have courage. You have to be committed. Like we said, when I talked about Nelson Mandela, that's another thing I saw in him too, was that commitment. He was willing, he had that conviction. So whatever platform you're leading from, wherever platform you're leading at, you need commitment. Without commitment, you cannot achieve anything. Even when things are not going wrong, even when you're not getting the applause, you're not getting 50,000 likes, you're not getting 100,000 followers, you still need to commit to it. Let's talk about this platform right now. Mr. Bisi started this, I'm sure, from scratch. Before he got to up to 3,000 people that are on this platform. Let's say that he gave up when he only had 200. We will have this opportunity to learn. No, absolutely not. So you need that courage, you need that commitment to keep going on, whether people applaud you or not. That is the trait of a leader. It's not about the applause, it's not about the like, it's not about the love. It's about you being committed to that particular objective, that particular goal, or that particular belief that you believe this thing is worth fighting for. So you need commitment beyond courage. Courage will take you just up to one point, and commitment is the next thing. And one person that in the life of a leader that I see a lot that did this well was Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa committed to the service of the poor in India. If you've read our autobiography or some of our quotes, you know she gave her life. She was willing to do whatever it takes to serve those people. So I ask you a question again. Who are you willing? What cause? What particular agenda? What particular area? What particular career path? What are you willing to commit yourself to groom yourself in, so that you can actually lead in that space? Like when we said, yes, we need leaders who know things, who knows constitution. So that also means whatever you are right now, whatever you're doing, how committed are you to it? Without the applause, without the approval from other people, how committed are you to seeing it through? So that's the second C's of a leader that you need to have. The third one is what I call confidence. So it's not enough to have courage. It's not enough to be committed. You need confidence. And how do you build that? How do you build confidence? By continuous action, by taking repeated action, not seeing that, oh, because I failed now, then that's the end. Going back to it, learning from failure, saying that failure is not the end. It is just an opportunity to learn another way that you're not going to do something differently. So I know right now you're feeling dejected because of what has been going on, the way the EndSARS movement has been. I don't see it as a failure. This is an opportunity for you to go back, see what has gone, analyze, reflect, audit the past 2 weeks, the past month, and ask yourself, what went well, what did not go well? How can we pull from this and rebuild our confidence to go back again and to tackle this issue with a different lens of view? Somebody that I saw demonstrated confidence throughout is Jesus Christ. Like he knew who he was. So I want you to know who you are. That's part of being confident. You need to know who you are and what you carry. All of us, we have a seed of greatness in us. We have infinite potential. But so many of us, we've allowed voices, whether from our past mistake, from our past failure, to beat those things down, those seeds down. And because of that, we're not germinating it. We're not watering it. And so because of that, you lose your confidence. You lose the sense of what is possible for you and for your community and for your nation at large. But I want to tell you today that before you can lead, you need to have that confidence. And you can get it from the outside in. It comes from the inside out. So how are you going to build your confidence? One of the things I love to do is what I call an I am statement. Think of, and I got this from Jesus and from other people. Like, think of Jesus. He also said, I am who I am. I am the way, the truth, and the life. So even right now, if your confidence is shaking, if you feel dejected, if you feel as if, I want you to start creating your I am statement. Who are you? Not based on the current issues that are going on, not based on your past failures, but who are you truly? If you were to quiet all those voices, all those negative voices that have been programmed, whether consciously or unconsciously, about what is possible for you, who do you really believe you are? How can you start living authentically from that and moving and walking in that lens? You need confidence. To do anything, to change anything, you need it. So courage is not enough. Being committed is not enough. Confidence is the next step. And you can learn from Jesus. There are so many I am statements of who Jesus is. So I want you to sit down and think about your life and say, okay, what am I? Think of 3 to 4 adjective or verb that describe who you want to be, who you want to emulate, who you want to become as you're journeying on this leadership journey. So for me, one of my I am statements is I am fearlessly unstoppable. And that has built so much confidence in me. So every single day, no matter the obstacle, the challenges, the dejection, the rejection, I remember who I am. Because that's my statement of I am fearlessly unstoppable. So no matter what I do, I go back to that statement and it helps me. Then the number 4 is competence. It's not enough to have courage. It's not enough to be committed. It's not enough to be confident. You need to be competent. Are you good at that particular thing that you have been steward with? Do you have the competence to actually do the work? Because yes, courage is great, but if you're not good enough, if you're not willing to do give excellence, if you're not willing to give your very best to whatever the cause or whatever it is that you're doing, then at the end of the day, you're not going to last as a leader. So you need to be competent. And how do you build that? You work hard, you practice, you learn, you go over and over again until you become the best. Like you become so good, you cannot be ignored. You cannot be ignored. So you need competence. Without it, you're not going to last. Your leadership is not going to last. So you need to be competent. You need to be so good that nobody can ignore you. Maybe you might be the best kept secret right now, but as you continue to build on your competence and your expertise, before you know it, the world is going to open up to you. So it's not enough to just have courage, commitment, confidence. You need to be competent in what you're doing. And then number 5 is consistency. You need to be consistent. You cannot just do today, I'll try, tomorrow I give up. No. You need to constantly really try. And before I even focus more on consistency, one person that I know as a leader who is still living, who really demonstrate competence is John Maxwell. Like he has focused his life on leadership. Like he has written so many books about it. Like you cannot argue with him, right? So what are you known for? What are you going to be known for? That you're going to be excellent. Like when people think of you or think of that thing, they think of your name. When it comes to leadership, John Maxwell comes, and it's because he's competent. He gives excellence every single time. So now back to consistency. How consistent are you with your passion, with your calling, with your conviction, with your belief about what you've been called to, about what is possible for your life? How consistent are you? Are you the one that after like failing the first time, you give up and you pack up and then you go into this state of like, I'm not even going to try again? Think of Thomas Edison. He tried more than 3,000 times before. Now we have electricity. We have so many things that makes our life easier but he did not give up. So you need to be consistent. Yes, there'll be challenges. Yes, there'll be obstacles. Yes, things will go wrong, but you cannot give up. You need to stay consistent. Keep that voice within you. Keep championing good. Keep championing change. No matter the position or stage you are in right now, you need that consistency. And one person that I know that did that well was Gandhi. Gandhi did that well. When he was facing the British government, when they were invading India and they were not going to give them access to something, he remained consistent. He was willing to fast till he died because he believed in that cause. He didn't just say, oh, today I'll fast for 1 week. If they don't give me my demand, I'm going to stop fasting. He did not stop fasting until they shifted their position. So how consistent are you? A lot of you say, well, I tried. You've not tried enough. A lot of you are so what's the word? You don't want to get a no. But the truth is, you need some no's to get some yes. One of the things one of my professors taught me about 5 years ago that I never forgot was this idea of your goal is to always get a no. So he made us do an exercise in class, and I will encourage you to do it. He said your goal is for these 2 hours of this class, get out of class and go and get 100 no's. 100 no's. Like if somebody say yes, let's say you ask number 7 and they say yes, you have to start from scratch again. And what was he trying to train us? To condition us like it's okay to get a no. A no is not final. A no is not the end. A no where people okay, what can I do? What can I try again? And so it's just that spirit of trying and trying. So since then, nothing failed me when people say no to me, when they reject me, because I know no is it's just them. That's their own idea of where they are at their own stage. There are all thousands, millions of other people who can help me. And so don't be afraid of no. You need to be consistent. You need to keep on keeping on and not give up. And then the last one is communication. You need to be able to communicate as a leader. You need to be able to listen to other people. Like Umi said, we don't know it all. The day you believe that you know it all, that's the day you start dying. Even though you're not dying physically, the day you start thinking that, oh, I know everything, that's the day you start dying and you start really, really, really going down. You need to be able to communicate, to talk to people, to speak to them in a way that inspires, that motivates. Don't be part of the people that bring other people, but to empower people. As a leader, you need to, because the journey is long. Right now, I see the end SARS as a battle. Yes, it has not been won, but we're going to win the war. And for that to happen, we need to keep communicating, keep sharing hopeful messages, not just things that depress people, that brings down your spirit. So you need to be willing to communicate, to do that. And all these 6 commit. And the person that I would say a leader that does this well was Martin Luther King Jr. I'm sure most of you still remember the I have a speech statement. Like that speech, even though it's over 50 years now or so, it is still, people still, and it's still powerful. So when you speak, when you post, when you share, what are you sharing? What are you communicating? Are people getting up from you? Are they being lifted, or are they being put down? So you need to watch what you say, what you speak out, what you record, what you post, because your words are powerful. It can either make or mar people. It can bring down or it can lift up. So as a leader, you need to be able to communicate, and communicate well, and communicate positive message. You need to be that leader in hope. And altogether, all the 6 C's of courage, commitment, confidence, competence, consistency, and communication leads to your character, which is the big C in my own version. It's the big C, character. And character is who you are. Whether people are seeing you or not, whether they can see you or not, that is who you are. So all these traits lead to your character. And that's the kind of leader that we want. The kind of leader that can demonstrate these things and consistently do it, and do it well, because that is the kind of character we need to lead us in this time and with all the things that are going on in the world. So I want to encourage you today. It is not over. You are that leader. We need you wherever you are, whatever stage, whatever position, whatever your community, whatever is your family you're leading, yourself, your business. We need you more than ever. And I'm just really happy that we have this platform to share and to be able to communicate with each other and get to really learn from all of that. So I really want to thank Mr. Bisi and the team for this opportunity, and I'll bring him back on to move on to the next stage. Thank you so much.
Awesome. I like the big C. That's great. Thank you so much, Rumida. Dr. Mata, that's so great. I really, really appreciate that. You know, when I met you first, it was these your acronyms that got me. You know, like my friend Coach Bisi also, she's an acronym woman. You know, and those acronyms, when you say the first one, the second one, I said, this lady likes acronyms and she's just creating them. Fantastic, fantastic. So let me bring Bumi up also so that we can just have this conversation, because I want to just take you guys up on some of the things that you said so that you can probably deepen it. I have some questions that some persons have sent to us, and we want to look at them. I'm really impressed at the things that you touched, because when I look at them, talking about understanding yourself and understanding others, really look at understanding, it's deep. You know, when you don't understand how people are going to act or respond in a situation, you are going to be doing things that you just should not do. So that's very important. But let me look at this, and I want both of you to respond to this. One of the things I've discovered is that rather than synergizing as generations, I saw one generation pitching against another generation, saying that it's this generation that created the problem. It's this generation that created the problem. I don't know what you have to say about that, but let me start with you, Wumi. What do you think in that? Because I saw you talk about you conversing with your dad and what he shared with you, but I've seen that not happening all around. Some people just feel that look, anybody that is born from so and so date, I don't want to mention the date because unfortunately they counted me where I don't want to be. Anybody that was born from this date above that, you created our problem, so don't just come here now. And then in fact, joked, he said, what the elders will see sitting down, we will use drone and we'll see, no problem. You know? So what do you have to say with that? I can bridge this gap.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Bisi. Thank you so much for that. So it's a very interesting question. Thank you for asking that. So like I say, I think I'm of a different school of thought in the sense that, you know, I try to look at these things sometimes very holistically than just picking up with the little things that are happening. And, you know, just like you said, I've been on different WhatsApp chats, different conversations or where we're like, oh no, it's the last generation has failed us. They have done this, they have done that. And, you know, when I was talking, I did mention something about understanding where we were coming from. It's important. I think that a lot of us are very, very short-sighted. And, you know, even though I'm a young person within a certain bracket, I still feel that with a lot of people that I converse with, we are very short-sighted in the sense that we don't read. We don't understand. We read. No, we hear things to reply, but not to understand. You understand? So we are very quick to want to say, no, it's their problem, it's their problem. Because everybody is saying it, so all of us too are now saying it. But nobody has sat down to say, okay, look, why did they not do it at that time, right? And have a very fantastic analysis for that time. And then back then, obviously, in the 60s, in the 70s or 80s, we had a different government. At least from what I know, of course I was young, but just sitting down to look at what was happening, there was a different government in play. Back then it was military. Any of our parents, they could have been shot, there was no space for peaceful protest. From the first day they see you out, they already gun you down. So it's a different environment now. So it's easy for people to say things like this. So there's a lot of people that I've been speaking to is, look, why don't we try to understand where they're coming from? Yes, it might not have been great in the sense that because that was people's understanding as well back then. Now we have internet. Then there was no internet. You think that if they had good internet, good network, they too, they wouldn't have been posting. I'm sure they would have been posting. Back then, to travel to the UK or anywhere, it can take you days. Now you do it in 6 hours. So things have changed. So people need to actually understand that. And I think that that's what a lot of young people are not really sitting down to critically think about, rather than just jumping on the surface and saying, why didn't you guys do it the same way we are doing it now? It's just a very, 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 for me, like I said, I've spoken to a few people, and I just think that it's a very shallow way of thinking and not being very critical about the situation. You can't isolate situations, because what they were contending with that time is different from what we are contending with now. So we need to now pick the solutions of now to address the situations of now. So that's what I have to say. I don't know Dr. Omotalatu will have something, but yeah, a lot of people
Absolutely. So for me, I really believe that we should not be doing the blaming game. One of the things that growing up in Nigeria, one of my grandma used to tell me is that if you point a finger at someone, 3 is pointing back at you. So look at my hand. I'm pointing a finger at you, but 3 is pointing back at me. So a part of leadership, like when we said, it's responsibility, you have to accept responsibility for where we are right now. So, and what we can do is to look at our leaders. What did not work? What did they do well? What are they still not so good at? And then analyze that, reflect on that, to say, and then look at within yourself to say, okay, if it was me in this position, with what I have, with the skill set, with my competence right now, what will I do differently? What mistake will I have also made based on the information they had at that point in time? So I would say it's not enough to just blame people and point fingers as, oh, this older generation, they should have known better. The truth is, some of us, even in this generation, we should have known better. We could have done things differently. Think of it. Even after the Tuesday issue with, let's talk about SARS, some people still end up rioting and destroying a lot of business. Don't we know better as this generation? So at whatever generation we are in, the goal is not to just accept responsibility. Yes, we're right here. What can we do to move forward? So let's reflect on what was done well in the past, what was not done. So I don't believe in just pointing fingers and saying that they should have known better. We ourselves should have known better, but still we are no better in a way because of the way things have deteriorated right now. So I'll say accept responsibility, reflect, look back at the history. A lot of us, we're not willing to go back to the history, and we keep repeating the same mistake over and over again. So before we even say that we want to do all of, let's look back at the history. What has worked? What has not worked? And then we also need to be willing to listen. Like I said, communication, it goes both ways. It's enough for us to just say this, and that. They're not doing this well. Things are not. No. What have they done well? Who can we learn under? Yes, all of them, we can all categorize them as bad, but there are still some good eggs. So can we look at those lives of those and say, can we speak to them? Can we have an opportunity to bring them to a forum, whether it's in private or publicly in this kind of forum, to talk to them, to learn at their feet? They still have wisdom. They still have value that they can still give. But a lot of us, we're so quick to see the negative. And because of that, we miss out on the positive. And so that's what I would say is that let's really not just look at it from just one lens. Let's see it from other lenses of what positive things can we get from this. And that will really help us a lot as we continue to grow in this.
Awesome. I can't but put my hands together for you guys. That is really awesome. But also on the other side, I think that with what has happened now, it is time for the older generation to step up and do certain things. If there's anything, I mean, in my field as a pastor, I usually say when I hear some senior pastors say that the people that we are raising right now, I mean, they say the younger generation, I don't know what's wrong with them. I always ask them, who raised them? You raised them. So everyone is responsible, like you rightly said. That's the truth. We are all responsible. And right now, what has happened, everybody should step up and begin to do some things. Now, you spoke about, both of you shared some stuff when you talked about, you meant into preparation. But I saw a post recently that made me laugh. They said, when they looted everywhere, shops were looted. The only places that was not looted were bookshops. Now, these are young people. They looted shops, they took away things, but they didn't touch bookshops. What does that tell you? That tells you immediately that, as far as they are concerned, those things are not valuable things. Now, I wouldn't want to say, okay, let's read, but in my mind, I tend to see that young people, I mean, I like your back, I like the look of your background, you know, just like mine. And I do this intentionally because whenever I'm talking to young people, I want them to just look at the back and see what has gone behind the scene, as it were. So how do we get back to this place where we bring young people to the place of learning? Not necessarily reading, but a place of learning. I mean, look at the two of you. Investment to do what people are doing at older ages, joining the John Maxwell team, learning, reading the books, looking at mentors, talking about people that have really gone into this line. How do we bring people back to that? Because I believe that if people know better, they will do better. How do we then get people to know better so that they can do better? We didn't need to break the shops. We didn't need to hug the same people that we are fighting with. We didn't need to do that. We didn't need to end people's businesses. You run businesses, so you know what that means, breaking into. So how do we get people to know better in this generation? Any of you can take it on. Anybody can take it on first.
Okay, well, I'll just go first. I'm seeing a comment here that they looted the Kindles, so they don't need the books. So I hope that's what they did. But you know, go back to
Jumia. They should have looted Jumia. They should have looted.
Yeah. So going back to that, so I think that, you know, I feel like that question is a very difficult question to answer. The reason I say it's very difficult is because then it will take us back to the education system, right? And obviously, education system will now have to look at who is in charge and responsible for that. Then we start from who is, you know, where do we go? How do we go from there? But I still think that, you know, like currently, obviously, one of the things, you know, that I do is I work with a lot of, you know, I do a bit of social issues. So I work within the recycling space and things like that. So obviously, currently now, we don't really have a lot of people that are recycling in Nigeria. But a lot of what we do is push campaigns from our own level in communities and do a lot of, you know, community engagement to activate that kind of understanding. So in terms of, you know, I guess reading and even just developing, you know, people personally, I think we need to ensure that they see the need for it and it makes it interesting. Because obviously when you're not used to something, so obviously for us now, we can say that because we understand what the importance of leadership, we understand the importance of improving ourselves. They might not necessarily do. In fact, mostly they don't, because even young people that are like my age and, you know, they've gone to good universities, you know, I still converse with a lot of people that do not see the importance of, oh, why are you going to this Jamaica thing? Why are you the only one? With me, you know, sometimes I even have people that are laughing at, they always laugh at me and say, with me, you're on this speaking something today again. You're on this speaking something. Not knowing that is even an opportunity for me to keep reading and improving myself and adding knowledge to my own self. Because there are sometimes that some topics that I've been invited to talk about that I know nothing about, but I won't decline it. I will start reading about it so I gain that knowledge. Even if it's to cram it, I will cram. But something will retain, we will retain there. So I think that, you know, obviously that's also personal, but that's now something we obviously need to find a way to now translate into a lot of community engagement, whether it's to build local community bookshops and things like that. But I know that now a lot of you know, younger people prefer visual engagement rather than the hard book and all of that. So if we're able to communicate whatever, I guess that also has to do with the times. and the generation that we are. Because I know there are people that are talking about Generation Z. Those ones might not even read book anymore. They might just plug something inside their ears and they just want to hear. So I guess with the time, as long as we are getting information fed into our head, I think that we can always move from there.
Awesome. And just to add to
Awesome.
what me said, yes, education is really important and is the foundation. But more than ever, I think, because there's this thing that I see, and I've like, people think that all these successful people, that they just became overnight success, but they're not. And so I think those that are now leaders, those that really at that height and at that top, they need to share what it took, the price they pay for the price that they now have right. So PRICE for the PRIZE. Because what a lot of people see is all of these social media, like how in 1 year somebody sold their company and everything, but they don't think about what went behind. So I think more than ever, the leaders, the older generation, or whoever it is that have, we need to tell people the struggle, not just the success. Because I think that's why a lot of them do. For me, I read at least 12 books a month. It is a commitment. It's not because it is easy, but it is what I choose to do. I wake up at 2:15 a.m. every single day, Monday to Sunday. It does not matter. I don't take any time off. But it's because I know what I want. I know the price I have to take for the vision, for the price I want in the future. So a lot of people, we need to get that foundation right. And how we can do it beyond just trying to force them to read, because I have ideas about, okay, let's create like these moving kiosks, or create like centers where they can just go and pick a book, borrow it and return it, and those kind of. But before that, if they're not even willing to pick a book yet, let older people that are now successful, to share their story, because all they see is that reel, that highlight, but they don't see all the thousands of hours, the thousands of investment that they've made in the past. So if we can get more people who have the opportunity, who have done these things, who are successful now, to really tell their story, like I read a lot of autobiography. We don't have many of that, like in our nation or in the African continent, as much as they do in other parts of the world. So more than ever, we need to tell our story in that sense of like, I did not just become an overnight. It took me 30 years. It took me 20 years. It took me, and that's what I shared about those C's. We need those C's to move on. They didn't just get there. There will still be things on the way. So if we can get people to really share from a place of authenticity and their vulnerability, to say, you know what, I was not always successful. I didn't always have $1 million in my bank account. I started with 0 kobo, and now this is what it took for me to get there. I think that will help couple with reforming the education system as well.
Oh, awesome! Thank you very much. I see a lot of comments in the comment space. Well, this is touchy, because somebody said those who looted are they in the church, and someone said, I don't know, but I want to say, I don't know if they're in the church, but actually not out of place to think that they could be in the church. And I think I could address that. Really, you're quite right, Omotola, with what you said concerning the issue of people seeing the glory and the glamour and never looking at the story that is behind it. And again, it's because a lot of times people don't share the story. They just share the glamour. They show the glamour, they share the glory, but they never talk about the story. And we need to talk more and more about the story. But let me move on, because there are quite a number of questions here. Now, somebody is sending me a question and asking that this issue of leadership in our continent especially, is it the environment that is the problem? Because, and this is the thing. Why did I get into leadership? Why did I get into this subject of leadership, and I'm studying all this? I've been on this now for over 26 years. The reason has been because I noticed that when I was much younger, maybe in my 10s, I've heard people say things like the problem of Nigeria is leadership. When I got into my 20s, they said the same thing. I got into my 30s, they said the same thing. Now I'm almost going to be 50 and they are saying the same thing. So this question really hits me. Is it an environmental problem? What's the cause? Why is it that we have this gap in leadership? Let me hear what's your take on that will be.
Yeah, I would like to start with that. I don't think it is environmental. Yes, environment has a part to play, but at one point you have to make a decision. As I said, like, you have to have that conviction, that courage to stand against all your past programming. So I'll give you an example of my own life growing up. I didn't grow up, now yes, I'm in the US, I have a doctorate, I have 2 master's degrees and all of those things. I didn't start at there. I grew up in Yemetu Ibadan, Oja. We were living in a face-me apartment. We were sleeping on like 10 of us in one mat. So my environment for the first 15 years of my life was nothing to write home about. Some days we'll not even have food to eat. We'll trek to school. We'll have to wait till like late in the night for my dad to come and get us. We'll only share one plate of 150 naira rice. And it was fastest finger out of 6, 7 people in the family. Whoever has the fastest finger to eat fast, that is it until the next day. Nothing else. But for me, that's why you need to decide. You have to have that decision. That leadership is also making a choice. Are you going to allow those to determine what you be? So let me tell you an example. One of the things that I did for my own life was like, I realized growing up, there was always strike. My brother was supposed to spend 4 years in school. He ended up spending almost 8 years. And I told myself, right as when I was in like junior secondary school, that I am not going to study in Nigeria for my university education. I didn't know what people used to laugh at me and call me Joseph the girl version, the dreamer, because it was like, you, when your parents don't even have a car, you're living in face your apartment. There are like more than 15 people sharing 2 rooms and everything. How shall these things be? So you need to, irrespective of that environment, you need to pick yourself up. And so how did I do that? By reading. I started reading about Ben Carson, Mother Teresa, like those things were my life. So I was able to envision a different future. That's how I got started. And so irrespective of my environment, irrespective of living in a face me apartment, in not having water, not having food, that gave me the power to keep going, to know that, you know what, I can be the first in my family to break this barrier, to break this yoke. And how do I do that? I need to take responsibility. So you cannot blame your environment. Yes, environment plays a part, but at one point in time, you have to now make a decision and decide, am I going to be run by these excuses and these my so-called environment, or am I going to pick myself up and say, you know what, I will try? So guess what I did? I started looking for people that could mentor me. I didn't care. Like guess how I did it? In church, I identified people that I knew they were doing well. I will buy biscuit or sweet or egg roll and like Coke. I'll go to their office unexpected and say, I just want to give you something for lunch. I did that for more than 6 months. And that made people pay attention, not because I had a lot of money, but I was like, I want what they have. Those people, because their background was not that pretty, and for some of them too. So I said, you know what, if nobody's even looking to mentor me, I'm going to seek it out. So I did it with my pastor. I identified like at least 15 people. Up till now, these people still keep in touch with me. If I need anything for my organization, like for my nonprofit, like one of them is on our board. It gives at least 150,000 naira every single month as donation for us. And I had to go seek it out. And now like, I don't have a lead much, but this little, I'll go to their office. They don't have a choice because they're like, oh my God, where is this girl coming from? And then there's like, okay, let's talk. And so we'll end up talking for 45 minutes or 1 hour. Then I'll ask them question. How did you do this? How did you do that? That was it. That was how I built myself up. And I was able to pick myself out of that situation. So yes, environment will want to pull you down, but you have something greater within you. And if you can activate that, if you can start building on that seed, start watering, start removing the weeds, because those past programming, they are weeds, and you need to get them out for that seed of greatness in you to germinate in that sense of the way. So you have to pick yourself. You cannot wait for people to pick you, to see you first. Pick yourself up first, irrespective of whatever environment you're coming from.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we miss here from you. I like that.
Right. Actually, to be honest, I don't think I have anything to add to what Dr. Omotola has actually said. She actually made a really, really good point. I was just simply going to say, obviously, the environment you come from can influence you, but it's still you are the one who are going to decide whether you want to make a change for your life or not. You being in a space is an excuse for failure. you being in a situation is not an excuse to say, oh, I'm going to be here, so I will not make anything out of my life. There's so many stories. Like Dr. Mata has shared her story, which is so inspiring. I actually wish she can share this to so many people and they can actually hear this. Because a lot of time people, we fall behind the face of, oh yeah, my daddy is not doing it or my mom. Like, how about what you are deciding to do for yourself? Yes, you might not have that opportunity that everybody else has, but people need to see it. So you imagine she's buying this for this person, buying that for that person. One day they might even taking recognition. It will just be one day that is the day that she even doesn't do it. Somebody will remember that girl that has always been giving meat pie and coke. We did not see her today. And that's just how you make a difference. So it's just the little things. So you need to decide for yourself, create your own path, create your own vision. And that I was reading somewhere very recently, and it was saying something about you can't manifest what you haven't thought about. What you haven't thought about cannot come to pass. You need to think about it and say, what do I want to do with my life? And then everything in the direction of that will start to play out. So whether it's in the environment, it has nothing to do. Yes, the environment, it does play an important part. A lot of times I hear a lot of people, especially say, in Nigeria, we don't have that much opportunity. But it doesn't stop me from thinking and dreaming. Me, I think I'm like my mother. We always have multiple opportunities, ideas. Oh, let's do this. We have not done this. We are doing this. Okay, we're all having ideas. And the point is, the opportunity will come. You just have to be ready. So the environment that you are does not determine what you do as a leader or how to become a better person. So she made a very amazing point, and I'm just going on. I'm just riding on that.
Actually, I like that story. Honestly, that's a great one. I like to hear stories like that and all. But I'm going to throw this one back to you, Umi. And then I'll bring it to you. This is it. You spoke particularly about preparation. So my question is, how are you preparing for your next level of leadership right now?
Wow, so that's a very, very good question, and it's also a good question of putting me on the spot. So, but I like the question because I think that one of the things that I've done, in fact, very recently, the book is here. I just started reading a book. Was it just a few days ago on transformation or something about transformational leadership? It's just over there, and it was actually the book that was. Then I took out a quote that said, "Let me just read out the quote." Just yesterday. Is the quote from Charles Kettering. It says, "My interest is in the future because I am going to spend the rest of my life there." So, and that stayed with me. I wrote it down and I was like, wow. Okay, so what am I doing?
Can you read that again? Can you read that again? Can you read that again?
The quote is from Charles Kettering. "My interest is in the future because I am going to spend the rest of my life there." So constantly, you have to be thinking about where you're going. You're going to spend the rest of your life in the future. So you have to be preparing for it. And that was just, for me, it was just now like, okay, what are the next steps? And, we had a conversation before we came online, and I said, I'm one of those, I'm always, always wanting to learn, wanting to read, and just moving on with, however my leadership journey takes me. I'm not one to say, oh, because I know this, I'm not going to. I like even taking courses over and over again, because I always feel like I've missed something. So I like to go back to go and look at it to see what I've missed and then see if I can get it back. So it's just, for me, it's just a continuous journey, preparing myself and getting ready for my next level of business, my next level of my next interest. And because I'm always having ideas, and once the idea, I'm already reading about it. So I'm always ready. I'm just preparing. I have, variety of things that I read and variety of things that I do. I know someone said to me the other day, you do so many things. How do you do it? I'm like, that's because I've prepared myself for it. I'm not one of those school of thoughts of, oh, you are just focusing on one thing. No, once you have an interest in it, you are able to compartmentalize. And I like what doctor said as well when she was talking about, waking up, having a routine, starting with a routine. Just as that, she wakes up at 2:50, I wake up at 4 a.m. I think that extra 2 hours, I try to see, and then I have a routine. I have a to-do list every single day. Every single day I have a to-do list. And that's just me, just to improve myself, be accountable for my time. My time is extremely, you cannot call me tomorrow or today and say, oh, let's meet tomorrow. No, you have to look at my to-do list. My meeting you might be next week because I already have something to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And it's no joke. So it's just, so for me, it's just continue, improving on myself and learning and keep improving on that.
Wow, that's awesome. So, Omotola, let's have you. What are you doing right now to prepare for your next level of leadership? Because it's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I'll say like the same thing Wumi said, like it's about looking at where I am. So I do, like, there's this quote that says an unexamined life is not worth living, right? So for me, I always examine my life. So I do a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and I do quarterly basis as well. And so when I reflect and I look, okay, what are the areas where I'm good? Where are the areas that I'm great? Where are the areas I need to improve upon? So one of the ones for me recently was this idea of like my thought, like past programming about my mindset and things like that. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to immerse myself for the next 6 months learning about this. And so I know, in Paul Matalini, that's the person I'm learning from through the Fully Resourced program. And that program has been so powerful. Like we're just in month 2, we're going to month 3, and I keep going back to rewatch and relearn and really, because I know that even though I'm here, there's still so much more layers I've not broken through past conditioning and things like that. So for me to move to that next level, to that next stage I want in my life, in my career, in my relationship, in my finance, I need to break those yoke. And so I'm willing to go under tutelage. I'm willing to learn from somebody who has been able to move from being a cleaner to being a multi-millionaire in like building 5 multi-millionaire business. And it's part of my own goal is like by 2025, I want to be running 3 multi-million-dollar businesses. And so for that to happen, I'm like, okay, who do I need to learn from? Who has the template? Who has done it? And what can I learn from them? I'm not trying to copy them. I just want to understand, how did they do it? What worked for them? What did not work? Then see what can I apply in my own life to move to that next level and that. So that's just one of the things. And like I said, I read at least 10 to 12 books per month. So one of the books I'm reading this month, which I really recommend, is Outwitting the Devil. That book is so powerful. No matter what stage you are in, is by Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil. And I really think it's a great companion to Think and Grow Rich. So if you can just spend, like I've been reading Think and Grow Rich for over a year. Every day, I read just chapter 9. After finishing your book, like on persistence, because you need it more than ever. Because I know that for the goals, for the higher levels I want to be, you need to be willing to, like, you need that persistence. You need to be able to persist against all odds. So every single day, I spend time reading and reflecting on that chapter 9. So when I now start my day at 6 a.m. and I start turning on my internet and everything, after everything I've done, I'm not faced by whatever challenges or obstacles or what did not go well that comes into my email or what people call me and tell me about, because I've already prepared my mind for the battle ahead, for the war ahead in that regard. So those are some of the things I am doing currently to help me get ready for that next level.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I wish we could go on, but time, of course, is not on us. And it's great to have you guys here. Honestly, my notes are full. I've been taking notes and notes and notes, and I've been either getting some things reinforced or some things I needed to look at again, rethink, and look at them. Very fantastic. And I like a lot of the comments I'm seeing there. Coach Bisi was talking about MD to MD. Mopping buckets to multi-millionaire. That's fantastic. Somebody is asking, can we have this recording on this page? This is practical leadership training. Please, it's going to be here. I'm not going to take it off. So it's on the leadership community. If you are part of the leadership community, if you are not on the leadership community, I'm sure you will find it on my YouTube channel. So please do me a favor, at least for bringing this your way, subscribe on my channel. And I'm not building it for money. I'm building it for making sure that people just get value. You know, my name is Bisi Akande. I just want to add value to you. That's my insignia. Any day, anytime, I just want to add value. So please, let's keep this going. I'm really appreciative of what we have learned from you. You guys are just fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
This is a book I was talking about that I found that cool. This is a book.
I'm actually reading that too. This month.
It's a fantastic book.
Amazing. Like, yes,
an amazing book. Honestly,
it's so good. I'll give you guys some expo. So if you're thinking, oh, I don't have money to buy Audible, I may not get this book. I don't know how to get this book. Go on YouTube, type the name of any of those books or any book in. Some people have already recorded the audios for you. All you have to do is just click play and listen to it. So even if you think that, oh, I don't have money to buy it, YouTube is a great resource for you. Like those books, like I have a playlist on just books. Even though I have Audible, I still go on YouTube sometimes because when I'm cooking or something, I don't have the time to be working my phone. I just let it play while I'm still doing other stuff in my house. So yes, All Hello Tomorrow, very
good,
amazing. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you've got so many things working there for us, so many things. In fact, today's session is so amazing because it's not just what they are sharing. They're even giving you exposed on how you can get this and do that. But those are books that I think I'm going to put on my reading list, especially Outwitting the Devil. I didn't know, I'm a pastor, so I need to really find a way of getting that devil out of the way because too many people are blaming. This devil has been blamed for so many things. He has been blamed for people's laziness, blamed for people that don't want to eat. People are fat, they say it's the devil. People are slim, it's the devil. When they are tall, it's the devil. When they are short, it's the devil. Nigeria is not working, it's the devil. Let's just keep pushing the devil. We've got to be very careful so that we live the life that we really want to live. And so that, of course, when we are there, we can also lead the way we are supposed to lead. And I think that we are not even supposed to be waiting to be there. We're already there. That's the truth. The truth is that we are there. Wherever we are, Martinelli, you talk about somebody that I follow so much. I mean, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. That's the truth of the matter. The guys that looted that shop, put them in the house. They will loot the house. Put them in the presidency. They will loot the presidency. It's not because they are hungry. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. So we've got to change the way we do everything so that we can, anything, so that we can change the way we do everything. Thank you very much. I really want to appreciate you. Thank you for this time. God bless you guys so much. I'm so glad that you are here. I'm so glad that we had this time. So, leadership community, thank you. You had it all good and all well. Thank you all for coming in. I see somebody is here with us from Berlin and so many other people from outside of the country. I wanted to appreciate you from Berlin. You came in quite first. Thank you very much. It's so great to have you here. And like I always say, my name is Bisi Akande. I just want to add value to you. Let's get together again next week, Sunday, same time on this same platform. And we are going to have a big, great time. Thank you. I really appreciate you. And please pray for those young ladies. They are doing very well. And I think that they have a great place to go. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys again next Sunday. Bye for now.
This phase is not the end of the story. There is more to who you are than today reveals. You are not made for lowly heights, so raise the bar and be better. Explore new frontiers. I am cheering, waiting on the other side. Keep advancing. God has given all you need. There are people following the path you lead. Yeah, 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 oh yeah, yeah. Every day is just a gift to become a better you. Now is where your pages begin. Don't stop it. Tomorrow's great, hope you hear me. Don't you drown in the glory of yesterdays. Only if you can strive to be better, then you have a chance to become the best of you. Yeah, I am cheering, waiting on the other side. Keep advancing. God has given all you